Number 2, face. How many people here know when the face of the human body is built? Hint, it's on the board. Day 18, day 19, day 20, and day 21 is when the face is right. All the nurses know that, don't you? Yeah. Does everybody here know the face of Down syndrome? Okay. The face of fetal alcohol, like the face of Down syndrome, is built on day 18, 19, 20, 21. So, for example, if mom's in jail from day 16 to day 24, what happens? No facial damage. The face of fetal alcohol, you know the face, the thin lip, no philtrum, the little notch here, a smaller chin, smaller eye holes, there's a face. That is between 3 and 10% of the whole population of fetal alcohol. Most people with fetal alcohol look like you and me. You know that? Great, we're fabulous. Now, here's the good news. Write this down. There's a few things you have to write down. September 2008, Melbourne. September 2008, Melbourne. ARBIS, Alcohol-Related Brain Injury Australian Services. They have a website. The world is coming to Australia. The first international conference in Australia ever on fetal alcohol is in Melbourne next September. Send somebody from Brisbane. We got that? Okay. The other thing which I should tell you right now, just so you know. Yeah. That's why we want your email address. In 2005, March of 2005, in the Canadian Medical Journal and the Asante Centre, every doctor in Canada, I don't care if you're a plastic surgeon or a gastroenterologist, every doctor in Canada got the Canadian Diagnostic Guidelines for Fetal Alcohol. It was a 3-year project, 60 people on the committee. We're the only country in the world that has national diagnostic guidelines. They're free. They're on the web. Canadian Medical Journal or the Asante Centre, we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay? Now, the world is coming to Australia in September. Kathy Sulik is an embryologist. And there's some materials here for you. S-U-L-I-K, she's an embryologist at University of North Carolina. And she has an online tutorial for you. She has been feeding drops of alcohol to pregnant mice for 25 years. Did anybody anybody look at this book? Don't take direction well, do you? She has been, take a look at it, I'll pass it around, I'll take a look at it. She has been feeding drops of alcohol to pregnant mice for 25 years. She can create any birth defect you want, on demand. What she has done is she go to social services and get a picture of a horribly deformed child. And it's right here. Then she'll create the same thing in a mouse. The science is so good. There isn't an Australian doctor that knows how to diagnose it, and it's like it's not a problem in Australia, because you're an island or something, I guess. But I just want to tell you how good the science is. And take a look at it. If you want to take a look at it, it's all on the web. Okay? Also right here, we have a full-time... Anybody know anything about Canada? 80% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Okay, 30 million people. We have a national police force, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. 80% of the policing in Canada. There's a 2-day course that we teach our police force. It's an official RCMP course on fetal alcohol. There's a lot you could pick up from us. So I'll just pass that around. So, Dr. Sulik, Dr. Claren, he is the big name, C-L-A-R-R-E-N, Sterling Claren. He is Mr. Big. His entire professional life on fetal alcohol. He started the diagnostic code in the 70s. He has 2 great contributions. He says, maybe you should write this down. There is only one true statement about alcohol in pregnancy. No alcohol equals no risk. There is only one true statement about alcohol and pregnancy. No alcohol equals no risk. Most people that I've met in Australia of the doctor persuasion are kind of involved in this argument. What's the standard drink? How many standard drinks do you have to take? Here's the proof. Nobody in this room would take a glass of scotch and give it to a 1-week-old baby. Why would you give one to one that's 37 days old in the womb? Okay? Does everybody know about alcohol? My brother-in-law is a jerk after 2 beers. My cousin Kenny, who's a truck driver, can have 25 beers. get back in the truck, and no one knows he's drunk. People metabolize alcohol differently. It depends on your genetics, your mother's genetics, the family history, your liver, your enzymes, all the stuff that you've got, and who you are. So this idea about a one standard drink is just plain hogwash. Dr. Clarence says there's only one true statement. No alcohol equals no risk. He also developed this idea called the external brain, and that's mostly what we'll be talking about later. In my library here, which I hope you had a good look at, and Streisguth. That's the one thing you have to write down. In quotation marks, write quotation marks, FADU, quotation marks. Everybody here knows how to use Google? If you Google FADU, you get to the University of Washington Alcohol and Drug Unit, and it is a huge website. Here are the books. I suggest you take a look at them. 30 years of longitudinal research on families. 30 years of research. I didn't make this up. Okay? And here is some fabulous stuff on what we'll talk about primary and secondary behaviors. And here's another one. At the Streisguth website, there's a woman called Kay Kelly, K-A-Y, K-E-L-L-Y, FASLAW at hotmail.com. FASLAW at hotmail.com. For 35 years, she was a probation officer in Hollywood. She's now a director with the research project. It's her job to answer questions. If you write her or phone her, she'll call you back. She is the most amazing connecting person. She knows all the research, she knows all the people, she knows all of the questions, all of the programs, all of the success stories. Kate Kelly works at the University of Washington. Now, Dr. Clarence in Vancouver, she's in North Carolina. Dr. Asante, A-S-A-N-T, it's all in your brief, don't have to write it down. He's in Canada, he's a pediatrician. He was the only pediatrician for 25 years in an area in Canada twice the size of the Northern Territories up north. He's seen everything. He's now in his 70s, and he started the Canadian assessment thing. So these people are coming to Australia next September. Be there. Now, the big name is, and I've told everybody this already, if you buy one book, you buy this book. What's the title, please, Leona? Loud.
Trying differently rather than harder.
And if you can't afford the $14, write that down. Trying differently rather than harder. It's $14, and there's the address right there. FAS.
I have 100 copies.
Oh, good for her. Janet's. Everybody know Janet Hamill, University of Queensland? Here's the professional version. In your photocopied materials, I've photocopied a bunch of pages, and we'll be going through this stuff. Diane Mulbin is the other big name. She's a social worker. She's a mother of 2 daughters with fetal alcohol. She was having some difficulties when she was doing her PhD, and has 2 daughters who have fetal alcohol. She's made it her life's work. This is the leading research. This is all practical, nuts and bolts, basic stuff. If you have an office, I recommend you buy this book.